Word, man. Benito Vasquez, but I go by Mav1. It's Mavone. It's an acronym for making a voice. Originality never ends. Gotta think about that. We're here. It's Who Got the Props? This is the kickback barbecue, chilling out. Everybody that came out that's got a late flight, I want them to leave with, food in their stomachs, a little bit of experience in Detroit, Southwest Detroit specifically. This is my crib, my backyard, where we at. So yeah. Who Got the Props is just an event. Me and my buddy threw, Marvy from Robotop's crew. We threw back in 2009, and we just wanted something to do. Scene just kind of needed a little event that we were catering to at the time. It's nowhere near the caliber that it was at. I think the first one, like 25 people showed up to. So it was real small compared to like what this one was. So Who Got the Props got started in 2010 with my boy Marvy from Robotop's crew. He was in college at Wayne State and lived, so we were constantly building around each other. Both of us are very much have the mind state that if something isn't going right in the scene, community, the world, I don't want to just complain about it. I need to do something about it. So on a very small scale, we seen that nobody was like ciphering. We would go out to places and play mute and go to listen to DJs and go dance, and we would be the only ones there. So we started Who Got the Props with the intention that let's just hire a couple quick DJs and they'll play music, no battles, everybody shows up and does their thing. At least in that era, we were the first to rekindle that cypher atmosphere spirit in Detroit. There was other jams happening that did that same sort of vibe and same sort of theme in other spaces. But for us, that was something that we did. Me and Marvy created Who Got the Props. Obviously, the Black Moon song, Who Got the Props, is where the title comes from. But we also were talking about what if there was a space where somebody didn't win or didn't get listed winning? What would you ask? Well, who got the props? Like who got, who won? But there is no winner. So you don't say who won, you say who got the props, who was killing it, So it's like when we were talking, having that conversation somewhere like, yo, we were out at the club and this person was getting down, they're killing it. And you could just tell that dude got the props the whole night. So it literally became manifested from like our culture. Through the years, what ended up happening is it evolved into different events. We did like a Who Got the Props Lowrider edition. We did a Who Got the Props Popping. We did a Who Got the Props Open Styles. We did a Who Got the Props Ciphers, where it was just, we went back to it. So it stayed active through the years in different forms. So it didn't always just stay a Cypher Jam, because obviously then it became a 2v2 this weekend. 250 people through the door, 52 crews signed up. So from where it started to where it is now, it's, and it's not to claim a title just to claim a title, but I can say that it's Michigan's biggest jam now. MTA held that for a long time, but with Who Got the Props being at 52 crews, the size that it was at, I can say that that title's in Detroit now. We're holding on to that, but Who Got the Props has it for now. I could do something in the next few months that just blows that away. That's the whole point. It's not to sit there and just act like that's the only bar, it's to beat that bar. I was very deliberate about who I picked to be involved in this. I purposely picked AMS to host, and the reason I picked him to host ended up transpiring. If you're saying things you shouldn't be saying, he's gonna call you out on it. You're wearing things you shouldn't be wearing, or at least understanding what it is, then he'll call you out on it.
My usual warnings when I host a jam: no racism, no racist motions, none of that, please.
He's a very huge advocate for, Black culture and hip hop, and making sure people acknowledge that. It's crazy that that conversation has to be had in a defensive way. Our judge panel was also, I purposely made it more women heavy than anything, So Maka, she's arguably the best B-girl in the country right now. She won the Rebel BC1, so she's got that title. She's representing the US and India in a month or two. One of the illest out there. Chrissy, one of the illest out there, just as humble and in her space and stayed there grinding. When you see her get down, then you're like, oh, that's why she's here. No, she doesn't have a million videos showing off and everything. She doesn't need that. If you're about the culture, you'll run into ill people like her. And the same thing with Irvin, It's very similar just on the DJ element. He's been involved in the LA scene, Long Beach, out there for years. And I've been hearing about him for years. I've been trying to get that guy out. The music he played, the energy he brings, the fact he can drop cumbia at a breaking event and everybody start breaking, just shows you the power of a DJ. So he made that happen. Everybody just having fun, vibing out. And then last was Wicked. Wicked's OG. Wicked is, phase 2. I feel like a lot of people in Michigan and further out from Chicago, east of Chicago, don't understand his impact or how important he is to our culture in the Midwest and our breaking history. And it was just dope to have him there too. So I'm a big advocate for, if you want people to support you, you need to go support them first. Don't ask somebody to show up without you going to show up to something. Especially if that's what you're about, is getting people into your space. And so that's why we had so many people from so many different places come out, and they were all like, oh yeah, we're here to support your event because you came out for us. So that vibe is different than somebody who's just coming out just to compete for the sake of competing, and they have no connection with the people who are organizing it. I think that added to the vibe of everybody wanting to be there. Like, everybody was still in a very heavy competition mode, but it wasn't this fake generated animosity. Everybody was like, yeah, I still want to smoke you, but like afterward, let's kick it because this is fun, this is dope. Mav's got this other event happening afterward, and everybody's kicking back at his house later, and then everybody's going to a barbecue Sunday. You had some judge calls happen that people really disagreed with and dancers really disagreed with, but it was just a disagreement artistically and wasn't anything like beef related or anything. So then those same people were having a beer and sharing a plate, at the barbecue. If I have all these people from out of town, I want to show them what this culture is, what Detroit is about. And this is, like Halim says it best, man, this is our version of hip hop. Us coming out and this breaking is elements of old Detroit. It's why I gave Halim a Lifetime Achievement Award, because I wanted to recognize old Detroit. Like, the foundation of Detroit is, people of color, Black Detroit. I wanted to make sure that was represented on on the national scale with, with who we're partnered with in the event and who was all there. A lot of people from all over that never even heard the word JIT. And they were, like, wait, JIT? They were trying to put a name, like, you're having a JIT showcase? They just didn't get it. It was so dope to be like, afterward, like, yo, I just looked up all this other stuff, hearing that from somebody. It's a couple people being like, I looked up all this other JIT stuff, and then they find Halim's video. He's a very huge advocate, and he's really pushing that culture across the globe, internationally. From going from a space of not really, at one point, looking at breaking, like, what the hell are they doing? Like, what is that? To now being vested in the way I am, opening an academy, throwing these events, having all of this work, 4 days of straight work, not to mention the months of planning before and everything it took to really get it going. I don't know how to describe it other than saying it's what I want, it's what I planned. My intentions are 100 about providing hip hop and with integrity. you know, and that includes everything from the competition side to the party side to the youth side to everything we do. And just really doing that, people see how honest and vulnerable I am about my art. And I think that's why people follow and want to support, you know, because of the vulnerability that's behind it of, you know, this is how this culture and these arts helped grow me into what I'm doing now, you know, how I, you know, because of the creative and expressive spaces, the rebelliousness, punk, pirate culture that I really identified with in hip hop, like really allowed me to figure out who I was, not conform just for the sake of not conforming, but to really discover who I was. You know, it's not just about being like, oh, I don't like the system, you know, and being like that all bougie about it or for the sake of not doing it. It was, there's layers to everything around us that constantly tell us we're not good enough, we're not pretty enough, our teeth aren't white enough, we're too fat, we're too brown, we're too dark, we're too short, we're all these things. And hip hop puts you in a space that all of those are empowerment pieces, and all of those are elements that make you successful.
One time, what up? We in Detroit, what up, though? Hey, from the bottom of my heart, for everybody who's traveled, got on a plane, got up early, called off, I just want to say thank y'all for making it out to this, yo. Who got the props? 2v2. But yeah, I just wanted to get y'all together real quick to say thank you, yo. Showing up is everything to me. That's all I care. Everybody here, I want y'all to enjoy the city, see what we're about. And my team, all my shorties, where you at? Throw your hands up. Yo, I could not have done it without them, man. Real talk. Yeah, man. These are kids, man. These are kids. They gotta keep this going, man. Hey, specifically this one right here. If you don't know, this is my son, Miao.
Do we have a decision? All right. Everybody hold hands. Who said the word hot seat? Hot seat. Okay, all right. Moment of suspense is my favorite term for times like these. From dead quiet, please. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Illville!
The champ is here! The champ is here!
Make some noise for phase 2, y'all! Make some noise one more time for your Who Got the Props champions. Illville, Nashville, Tennessee.
We do this amazing event. I catch a breath and we get right back to MCSDA, back in the neighborhood. We're back in Southwest Detroit, and it's like right away. Yeah, we had a great weekend, was able to do this. We had all this amazing talent, but the work doesn't stop there. That's just one part of what we do. The weekly programming, the weekly classes, what we do here, that's the important thing. This is just, you know, that was a way to let people know, like, hey, we still do the competition side of things, but we also, you know, our work is rooted in providing safe creative space for these young artists. It's not just one Saturday in June, it's all year, you know. We're not here a couple months out of the year, we're here all year, you know, like we're here 5 days out of the week, you know, doing hip hop.